You know, it's kind of depressing that Valve went from being one of the best gaming companies in the world, publishing absolutely fantastic game after fantastic game with no bad games in sight, to not making any games for like years. Like seriously, the last proper single player game they put out was Portal 2. That was 10 years ago. All they've put out since then was CSGO in 2012, which was a multiplayer game, and Half-Life Alyx, which was a fucking VR only game. Where the fuck did Valve go, man? It's so depressing. Yours up to Poke.xx here, and yeah, recently I was thinking about Valve. Ever since the Ackman put out his video about the downfall of Valve, it got me thinking, and I was trying to brainstorm video ideas, and I was like, what is Valve's best game? And I went through a bunch of them. I was thinking maybe it's TF2, is it Left 4 Dead, is it Half-Life? There's a bunch of things that were coming into my head, but there was always one game that I kept coming back to, and that was Portal. Bro, where do I even start with Portal? Well, at the beginning would make sense, so I guess let's just go with that. Portal was actually inspired by a game called Narbacular Drop, which was actually a university project by a bunch of students from the DigiPen Institute of Technology. Valve, seeing potential in the game, contacted the developers and asked them to come in and make a game with them. This wasn't actually the first time Valve did this. They used to do this a lot back in the day. That's actually how Counter-Strike and Team Fortress came around, and even Half-Life if you really stretch the definition of mod. Once Valve got the team in, they started work on what would later become Portal. But the way Valve sold the game was actually really smart. So in 2007, Valve had two games coming out. Half-Life 2 Episode 2, which everyone was excited for because it was more Half-Life, and Team Fortress 2, which everyone was excited for because it had been advertised for 9 fucking years. Even back then, Valve was shit at releasing games. So with these two games coming up and Portal being an unknown property, they decided to throw the three games into one collection, the Orange Box, with Half-Life 2 Episode 2 and Team Fortress 2 being the main selling point, and Portal just kind of being a bonus. Little did people know, they were about to play one of the best games ever created. Now I'm sure some of you are wondering why I went with Portal 1 rather than the generally considered to be much better Portal 2. And I'm not going to really get into it in this video. I do plan to do a video on Portal 2 in the near future, and I'll go into it more there because it's more to do with this game than it is the first game, although I will touch on it a little bit later. So for now we're going to focus on the first Portal being recorded on the Orange Box on an Xbox Series X to make sure I had the best quality footage possible because my PC is a piece of shit. Right off the bat, I think the way this game starts is absolute genius. You wake up in a small room, you feel like you're trapped, and of course I put the fucking radio on the toilet because what do you expect from me? And then you find out that basically throughout the whole game, you're going to be bossed around by this weird robotic voice.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer Aided Enrichment Center.
It's also made clear right off the bat that this voice, GLaDOS, is incredibly weird.
Please refrain from turn back.
Jesus, GLaDOS, need help there? Because I can put you in your mission, I'm not afraid to shoot a motherfucker. And that's not even where it ends, because as soon as the portal opens, the first thing you see is, well, yourself. You can actually see yourself in a first-person perspective in this game, which is really weird and is super surreal, not just the first time, but basically every time it happens. I swear to God, it happened to me several times in this game and it really tripped me out. Even this happened at one point.
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street, and I know it's my time to go. Going new, and the search is a mystery. Standing.
Anyway, the first couple of levels of the game are actually super basic. The first two don't even give you the portal gun, and the ones after that don't even give you the second portal for a long time. You're just working with the blue one for a while, and then whenever it finally gives you the orange one, that's when the fun really starts. But that's not to say the early game isn't interesting. There's actually two chambers in the early game I want to talk about in depth. So instead of putting the two cubes on the buttons, what you can do is shoot a portal inside the door and then stack the two cubes on top of each other to get up to this platform where this portal is. You'll be able to see through the portal into the other room. Then if you put one of the cubes through the portal and shoot another portal in that room, you'll actually be trapped and GLaDOS will be forced to help you, giving her some exclusive dialogue.
You're not a good person. You know that, right?
This is one of the earliest hints in the game that you can find of GLaDOS's true nature. The next chamber I find interesting for a completely different reason. When you walk into this chamber, GLaDOS tells you the chamber is impossible. And when I was younger, I damn near believed her because I couldn't work out how the fuck to do this. What you're supposed to do is take the cube to the higher platform and notice the hole in the wall. Then shoot a portal through that hole in the wall and take the cube to the other side and place it on the button. But that's not how I did it. The way I did it was I took advantage of the fact that I was only in control of the blue portal and walked through the emancipation grid. Because I'm only in control of the blue portal, the orange portal doesn't disappear. So I can just shoot the portal and collect the cube that way. I'm not sure if Valve know you can do it that way, but that is a way you can do it, and that's why I find this game fascinating. You don't have to do the puzzles in the intended way. You can do them in your own way and work them out in your own way, which is absolutely fascinating to me. Nothing else really interesting happens until Chamber 16. I'm glad I'll let you know that the actual chamber you're supposed to be going into isn't available, so you'll be going into a test course for military androids instead. Two interesting things happen in this level. Number one is you meet the turrets, who are the most dangerous enemies in the game, yet I feel so fucking bad for them when I kill them.
Who are you? Hello? Searching. I don't have no hard feelings.
God damn it, just be assholes so I can feel happy about killing you. Now I want to kill myself. God damn it. But the most interesting part about this level is the Ratman Den. Behind these two cubes here, if you crouch and go inside, you will see this. All over the walls, the cake is a lie, the cake is a lie, the cake is a lie. This appears to be from a previous Aperture test subject who got fooled into GLaDOS's cake trick, just like you, who are trying to warn you that the cake is a lie and that she's trying to kill you. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, we all know the cake is a lie, we all know about the Ratman Dens, we all know GLaDOS is the villain. What's so special about this? I want you to actually think. Nobody knew what this game was at the time. Everybody just thought this was a little side thing they just threw into the orange box where you would go through test chambers with some weird portal physics. Nobody knew there was going to be any lore to this. Nobody knew there was going to be any dark secrets hiding in it. So imagine somebody who just randomly discovered that after seeing the little text that said help outside. That would scare the shit out of someone. I was scared shitless of these things when I was younger. I remember, I have a distinct memory of fighting one of these things when I was younger and being scared shitless. Like, these were a big fucking deal. And like, for a game that nobody was really expecting to pull this kind of shit off, that's nuts. And that is the beauty of Valve. And this continues right into the very next chamber, where you're presented for the first time with the companion cube. The whole game up to this point, you've just been using the typical weighted storage cubes that you're given by GLaDOS. But this time, this one has a heart on it, and you have to use this thing throughout the whole chamber to deflect energy balls, place on buttons, and use as an extra platform. It's almost like a multiplayer in single player. It's super interesting. There's even another Ratman Den in here, this time again contradicting GLaDOS. Throughout the whole chamber, GLaDOS constantly says the weighted companion cube cannot speak, and if it does, disregard its advice. Where this Ratman Den suggests that it does talk, and its advice actually saved his life. He even has the companion cube stapled over the faces of other Aperture Science employees, suggesting that their bodies have been stuffed inside the companion cubes. Or at least that's what MatPat thinks. By far the most interesting part of this chamber is the ending, where GLaDOS challenges your player, Chell's loneliness, and asks you to do the unthinkable.
You did it. The weighted companion cube certainly brought you good luck. However, it cannot accompany you for the rest of the test and, unfortunately, must be euthanized.
She asks you to throw the closest thing you've had all game to your friend in an incinerator. And the game does not let you progress until you do it. And when you do it, she just adds insult to injury.
You euthanized your faithful companion cube more quickly than any test subject on record. Congratulations.
I may have taken that one too far. Anyway, moving on from that, the next chamber actually had the only part of the game I still think is hard, and that's this section with like these 4 turrets, and you have to kill them with a little energy ball thing, and there's a lot of weird stuff you have to do. It's not super hard, and I don't find it as hard as I used to, but this is the one part of the game I still kind of struggle with to this day. Mostly this part here, where you have to jump through the portal and hit the button with the correct timing to fit in with the ball. I don't know, it's fucking weird. But personal vendettas against video game levels aside, that brings us to the final chamber, where you do this relatively easy puzzle, and then get on a moving shaft, where you have to avoid a bunch of shit. It's not really that hard at all. And then this happens.
Congratulations. The test is now over. All Aperture technologies remain safely operational up to 4,000 degrees Kelvin. Rest assured that there is absolutely no chance of a dangerous equipment malfunction prior to your victory incandescence. Thank you for participating in this Aperture Science computer-aided enrichment activity. Goodbye.
GLaDOS just straight up tries to cook you, but before she can do that, you shoot a portal in the wall, jump through it, and escape that bullshit.
What are you doing?
Hightailing it the fuck out of here. What does it look like? From this point onward, GLaDOS just tries to convince you that, oh, that was the final test. Just sit there and wait to be escorted to the party where you can have your cake and all that bullshit. But you're not having any of that shit. You're trying to get away from this psychopathic bitch. There's actually a bunch of cool Easter eggs you can find in this section, like this one, comparing Aperture Science to Black Mesa, an obvious reference to Half-Life, or even looking into a bunch of the chambers you were in earlier, which is probably the coolest part, and it's even kind of creepy because you never know, people may have been observing you the whole time and you didn't even know about it. You can get to take a ride in the cube tubes. Cube tubes, that is fun to say, cube tube. Said cube tube, I'm just going to keep calling it that, actually brings you to one of the chambers from earlier where you actually get to see that the orange portal makes it way easier because you can just shoot a portal through the door and skip the whole thing that way. And of course, there's even more Ratman dens because you didn't shit yourself enough before. There's even a new kind of turret who locks onto you. Somehow he's actually more easier to avoid than the regular turrets. How the fuck does that work? By the way, I just want to mention this sewer section is giving me serious Arkham Asylum flashbacks. Is anyone else getting that? Also, a weird glitch that happened to me was whenever these two turrets were dropped in front of me, I dropped a portal under both of them, and one of them just straight up disappeared. I don't know what happened there, but one of them just straight up disappeared. Oh god, what did I do? And that's not even the worst thing that's happened to me during that section. Yes, this is a real thing that actually happened to me. This guy is either having the time of his life or he is about to throw up. But all of that, everything we've been through this whole game, losing the companion cube, killing innocent turrets, turrets disappearing and having spaz attacks, and basically everything, was all leading up to this moment.
Well, you found me. Congratulations. Was it worth it? Because despite your violent behavior, the only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart. Maybe you could settle for that and we'll just call it a day. I guess we both know that isn't going to happen. You chose this path. Now I have a surprise for you. Deploying surprise in 5, 4... Time out for a second. That wasn't supposed to happen. Do you see that thing that fell out of me? What is that?
You finally come face to face with GLaDOS, and of course, to get revenge for what she did to the companion cube, you burn a piece of her.
You are kidding me. Did you just stuff that Aperture Science thing, we don't know what it does, into an Aperture Science Emergency Intelligence Incinerator? That has got to be the dumbest thing that... Whoa. Good news. I figured out what that thing you just incinerated did. It was a morality core they installed after I flooded the enrichment center with a deadly neurotoxin to make me stop flooding the enrichment center with a deadly neurotoxin. So get comfortable while I warm up the neurotoxin emitters.
Well, shit. So the boss fight with GLaDOS, I think, is absolute genius. It makes you use everything you've learned throughout the whole game, including the rocket guy who I talked about earlier, the forward momentum, which I didn't even talk about in this, and a lot of other stuff. And when you finally beat her, it's one of the most satisfying things in the game. But then this happens. And there's a little extra. The cake was fucking real. The memes and Ratman have been lying to us for all these years. The cake was real. Or at least that's one way of interpreting it. I don't fucking know. Maybe this is a lie. Maybe Valve's lying to us. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I fucking...
This was a triumph.
Okay, I'm happy now. I fucking love this song. I love this credit sequence. Everything about this is so good. It's GLaDOS just being super passive aggressive with you while talking about science, and it's a fucking great song to boot. I swear to God, man, is there any better way to end a game? It's so fucking good. And of course you got pictures along with it because fuck it, Valve just like going the extra length. It's so fucking good. And that's why I think it's better than Portal 2, because this game wasn't trying to be super thematic, it wasn't trying to tell a super complex story, it just got its point across with what it had. It had subtle messages throughout the game that were hitting to what it really was, but you probably weren't thinking about them too much because GLaDOS was just so fucking funny, and the game was just so fun. And whenever you get to the end, everything becomes clear, and it all ends with a great song. That's Portal 2, yeah, it has a lot of those elements, but it doesn't live up to the first one in my opinion. That's why it annoys me whenever I see, oh, Portal 2, best game of the 7th generation and all that bullshit, because it's like Portal 1 was so much better and deserves a lot more credit than it gets. Not to say Portal 2 isn't good, Portal 2 is still a fantastic game and I will touch on that when I eventually cover it. But I just think Portal 1 trumps it in every category, and I've always felt that way, and I feel like if people gave it another chance, they would too. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. So if you guys enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like. Leave a comment in the comment section below telling me if you agree with me or if you still think Portal 2 is better, and be sure to tell me why because I'd be interested to hear. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you all next time. Peace.